She wants to buy president, so we'll call it by means of time.
Senate, I'm Nelson Colette. What you have right now is a hearing, a public hearing expected to begin briefly. The Senate's Committee on Education is today conducting a major hearing with stakeholders in the educational sector. The committee is conducting this hearing on education sector matters. You have the president of the University of Liberia, the president of the University of Liberia here, the Minister of Education, and other actors in the educational sector of the country. Thanks for joining us.
We want to ask you to please put the witnesses on the oath.
So the sergeant at arms will briefly put the witnesses on the oath. But as you see there, you have the Education Minister, Dr. Jaso Jala, the president of the University of Liberia was here just a while ago. And of course, you have other actors here. So,
Okay, Dave. Yeah, okay, but what is okay? All right, we'll put it over. Okay.
All right, so
distinguished colleagues, we want to thank you for coming. I want to thank the minister. Madam Minister, I want to thank you. Madam Acting Superintendent of MCSS, we want to thank you. Today we have three distinguished individual personalities from the educational sector, which include the Minister of Education, Minister Jaso Jala. We have the superintendent, the acting superintendent from MCSS, Dr. Stevens. Your first name, I don't know. Olori Stevens. And the president of the university. The president of the university asked for a brief excuse. She's having a small consultation with the vice president, so we are allowed to have that consultation. She'll be back. To the witnesses, we have done a small agenda for you to address. As we're reading our letter, the Senate is very concerned on the leadership of the Senate Pro Tem, Honorable Yombly Kangar, even though she's not in the country, but this committee has been mandated by the Senate to make some inquiry in the educational sector, considering most of the issues that are currently obtaining. So we will start by introduction with the senators, then from there you will introduce yourself. The Minister of Education will proceed with a presentation, and there will be questions and answers from the senators. It will be followed by you, and the President of the University here now. It will be followed by you.
Darius, represent Montserrat County. I chair the Senate Committee on Foreign Affairs, and I am a ranking member of this Committee on Education.
We'll go from the other.
Thank you. Senator Abon County, member of the committee.
Senator Councilor Joseph. Thank you, honorable members of the Education Committee. It's our humble pleasure to be here to provide this brief update, or comprehensive, I should say, update to the committee on the status of education in our country. With me, I have Deputy Minister for Administration at the Ministry of Education. And also here is the acting superintendent. Please introduce yourself.
Good afternoon, Senators. It's indeed a pleasure to be here to meet each and every one of you. Thank you for inviting us, and we're here to answer questions. Thanks. I'm Dr. Stevens. Sorry. Oh, my name is Dr. Augury Stevens, Acting Superintendent of MCSS.
I'm Attorney Nyanke Y. Fokpa, Deputy Minister for Administration, Ministry of Education.
And also joining us is the President, Dr. Leila Mapayan, who, as Chairman McGill just informed the body that she has been excused for a few minutes to join us as well.
Thank you, Madam Minister. Yeah, thank you, Madam Minister. We are televising this hearing or this meeting because Liberian people are interested in education. You being the super minister, and not only Liberian, we are representative of the Liberian Senate. There's so many questions out there, so people will ask questions. Some people will submit questions to us. We'll ask you the questions. Senators will have the privilege to ask you questions concerning information coming from their constituent. So basically, you have the agenda before you. For instance, one of the things I did not include in the agenda that some senators reported to me is the preparedness of school to open. And the senators believe that schools are not prepared now to open. Please include that on the agenda to address yourself. So what is the information? Then we'll go to MCSS. So we now open the floor to give you the opportunity as the lead minister responsible for education in our country to address some of the major issues.
Thank you. And pursuant to the citation that we received, we prepared the comprehensive update that have been requested, and we'll do our due diligence to support and present on the additional items that have been requested by the committee. I will proceed now with providing information on the implementation framework of basic and secondary and higher education in the country. I will also talk about the strategies that we've derived. There were questions around scholarship administration and student welfare. There were also measures for improving outcomes in learning in the country, teacher training, accountability in the system, and the priority alignment with our development goals, because all of our activities need to align with the plan for development. And I'm going to conclude on the key challenges that we currently have identified in our system and processes and the opportunities for where we can work together to find solutions, and wrap up with a call to action on how we foresee the way forward. So firstly, the Ministry of Education is mandated to ensure quality education for all in the country. We proceed with achieving that vision through strategic policy and priorities, including accountability measures that are guided by the AAID as well as the Education Sector Plan. So our broader policy goal is to ensure that access to quality basic education up to 2028. What are some of the major policy priorities for basic education currently being implemented by the ministry? There's a curriculum review for relevance to 21st century skills by 2026, gender equity and inclusion for girls, especially students with disabilities, by 2027, the nationwide school infrastructure. My tour around the country gave me a eye-opener about the state of the infrastructure across the country, public schools, specifically infrastructure. Also, education that we are currently working on, ensuring universal access, accelerating learning. So for universal access, there are a couple of activities and programs that we've implemented. The first is the Back to My Classroom initiative. Our assessment indicated that there were 7 counties that we had low enrollment. And those 7 counties were targeted for the Back to My Classroom initiative. And with that, the ministry has waived the 7 counties. Just a minute. Bapolu, Bomi, Grand Bassa, River G, Grand Judet, and Sino were the counties that we saw very low enrollment for. And looking across the census data, the number of students or young people or children that are in those counties, we didn't find them in the schools. So we launched the Back to My Classroom nationally, and we relaunched the local level in Grand Bassa earlier this year. And the idea is to get 250,000 kids across these 7 counties in school. And as a strategy to support enrollment, we've waived registration fees. We know that students do not pay tuition to go to school. So if a kid has not gone to school for 2 years and under, we've waived tuition registration fees. We're going to provide them free book bags and school supplies. And we've also linked with the Ministry of Health because what we also found, kids did not know their ages. So with this multi approach to having the kids come to school, getting the requisite health records that they need, the Ministry of Health will be providing birth records for kids up to 12 years old. So, and then support with inoculations and immunizations for kids who have not had, immunizations.
My point of order it stems from the background of why this hearing today. It is as a result of many senators doing a constituency break, going into their counties, assessing school buildings, and knowing that they are not yet ready for opening. We are barely 3 weeks or 2 or 3 weeks away from school opening. Many senators believe that they have assessed schools in their counties. These schools are not ready to open. And I think the minister should be done justice here to be given the time to actually address the actual issue. And since MCSS is the largest, taking care of school outside of the ministry with a little bit of autonomy, they too can address how prepared are these schools to open. Then we can go, because Mr. Chairman, this is not the first time we've heard all these policies that these people are working on. We heard them before, got our reports. But let's go to the specifics that drove us here. The point is, where I raised it was to address it in terms of the opening. But it's also important, the information is going on, also vital, important information for the people to know. Because when school opening, you still got to deal with people going to school. So the opening issue, I just raised it, or she can address that while she's doing her presentation. MCSS also can include that in your presentation.
I can certainly respond to Senator Klein's question regarding renovations and the readiness of schools. Okay.
Then you can include a separate topic and you can address that. So you know, people, I'm interested in knowing the school. And one of the things you want to say, you want to know which category of preschool, which category. elementary or junior or
Kindergarten to JSS.
Yeah, so we need to know so the public can know it's not more free school.
Yes, kindergarten to JSS public schools.
Is it GSS?
In the junior secondary school.
Yeah, you gotta explain that.
Which is grades 6 to 8.
Okay.
So, regarding universal access, we started the Back to My Classroom campaign launch in the 7 counties that I spoke of. And our goal is to get 250,000 students back in school. We are in the process, and UNICEF is a partner to the ministry in this endeavor to take stock on what we have achieved in terms of bringing kids back to school in year 1. And that report, once we complete the taking stock for how many kids we've been able to get back to school, that will be shared with the committee. We've also implemented the GOL flagship project. We will be implementing the GOL flagship program for primary and foundational education between 2025 and 2029. We're able to secure the Liberia Excel project, which is excellence in learning. And if we've heard about school construction, this is the project that is going to do that. But that is just a component of the Excel project, because we want to strengthen teaching, learning. The development plan calls for teacher capacity and student learning capacity. And that project is our answer to fixing the foundational learning of our country to yield the learning outcomes that we have. Look at the literacy rates in Liberia right now, we're under 50%. And with that baseline, we need to advance and make progress there. What we also have done is enforce the teacher code of conduct, and we're continuing that process. That is under universal access. Under accelerated learning, we have issues with overage children in classrooms across the country. We've transitioned 500 plus overage learners in grades 3 and 4 after a successful pilot. We've expanded plans for select schools across the country so that we reduce the bottlenecks in trying to get these kids who are overage into the right classes. As it relates to equity and protection, we have the Girls Scholarship and Mentorship Sanitary Pad provision. We've done some distribution of that for girls, and we'll continue that through October through December. We've done the gender-based violence referral pathway and rolled it out. We're going to be doing the gender-based violence referral pathway and to be rolled out November 25th to June 2026. As it relates to strategies for higher education and technical education, MOE broader strategy is 1, expansion and modernization of technical vocational training programs across the country. Standards have been developed. The LITCOM, that is supposed to be the house that pulls technical vocational education under one umbrella, that bill is now before the Senate for review. The strengthening of the university governance and quality assurance we've done. I think we all have heard of the review that NCHE has undertaken. The LITCOM bill, the vocational technical education. We proceed? Okay. So alignment of tertiary curricula with labor market needs is where we are having direct emphasis again, because we're finding our young people are graduating with credentials that do not match labor market needs, and most of the employers have to do excessive retraining to get them capacitated to do the work that they've been hired to do. We're leveraging support for research and innovation, specifically on education research, to really help us diagnose, major problems in the system and devising innovation to help us address that. And whether it's across MCSS or University of Liberia and the larger tertiary population, That's the focus of the ministry. One, we just had a quality assurance team regionally here in Liberia, because if our systems are not quality assured, the degrees that we're awarding will not be of quality. So that's one. The second one is another partnership with the AU to strengthen our education management information system, where we don't have the data to make sure that we're making data-informed decisions. And so these are areas that we're using and emphasizing and focusing on to strengthen our governance of tertiary education. So I spoke about the LITCOM bill. As of now, we have 50 technical vocational institutions that will be accredited by 2026 for access and digital transformation. We've constructed and equipped 10 TVET centers. We will construct and equip 10 TVET centers with support from the EU and UNIDO by 2029. We've done with phase 1, and we're going into phase 2 of that project. The scaling up of digital training for teachers. I've reported before this Honorable Senate that we were able to deploy computer labs in 156 public schools, and we needed to now, the next phase, train the teachers to be able to utilize those labs and the curricula that they need to operate. So we've done the training for that, and we're continuing. It's because it's a continuing process. We're continuing that process to ensure that we meet the benchmark that we need to yield in access to digital transformation. Regarding scholarship administration and student welfare, we've done a transparent merit-based scholarship application process. We've expanded scholarship opportunities to underprivileged children. We've improved monitoring of students studying abroad. And I will share specifics on cost savings that we've been able to achieve there. With the local scholarships, we inherited over 500,000 plus in arrears. But I'll start with the head count. With the local scholarships, when we took over, we were informed that 516 students were on local scholarships. After we conducted head count of local scholarship recipients, it was discovered that those 516, out of the 516, 378 were actual scholarship recipients. So that led to a cost savings of over $96,915 that we were able to generate. And then the MOE also launched the recruitment to identify additional beneficiaries. So because of that cost savings, we were able to add, for this local scholarship go-round, 622 new spots are open for local scholarships, and that's the process that we are undertaking at the moment. This will bring the number of total local scholarship recipients to 1,000 students at the start of the academic year, which is a 62% increase in scholarship beneficiaries for the local scholarship. As of fiscal year 2025, the arrears accumulated across several semesters were semester 2 of 2023, semesters 1 and 2 of 2023 and 24, and up to 2024 and 25. So the amount in arrears that we had was $810,734. And of that, $510,734 has been paid. Discussions are ongoing with the Ministry of Finance for the remaining $300,393 that we have under the local scholarships. With the foreign scholarships, we had arrears in excess for 210 students that were on the foreign scholarship, In Morocco, we had 149 students. China, we had 31 students. Hungary, we had 30 students. In September of 2025, we had an additional 58 students that would join their counterparts in Morocco. So for this new go-round, 26 students would join the students in Morocco, 16 would join the China cohort, and 16 would join the Hungary cohort, which brings the foreign scholarships managed by the Ministry of Education to 268 students. Regarding arrears, there are no arrears at this time for foreign scholarships. We've received from Ministry of Finance $930,163 to pay off in tranches those students that had their allowances not paid. So we are up to current on the scholarship payments for the students. And the background on that was from April 2025 payment, we were able to disperse $549,000. And then for August payment onward, we're able to disperse $380,000. So we're up to current on that. And just as a background in terms of how much each student receives, for China, students receive $75 a month because not only are they on the scholarship, they also get support from the Chinese government. And per quarter, for China, each student receives $225. For Morocco, it's $200 per month. So per quarter, each student receives $600. For Hungary, it's $75 a month. Per quarter, $225. So that's the spread in terms of how much each student receives for their allowances while in completing a degree in a foreign country. What we also did, as in the head count, we did a head count for the foreign students as well. And that, again, we were able to have some cost savings because what the ministry were able to discover, we had students who had overstayed, students who were supposed to be in have completed their programs in 2-3 years, had been there 5-6 years. And we were able to have meetings with those students and identify when they were going to conclude their program and sign contracts with them to say, you have this term limit to complete your program and return home. And the ministry has supported their resettlement back to Liberia upon completion. Then I can now address the question, Honorable Client. What we did earlier this year is an assessment of the state of infrastructure readiness for the students to come back to school. And when we find and analyze those results, each county, 8 institutions were identified in terms of infrastructure that needed renovation. And of those, we've completed 25 renovations and counting. I didn't bring the specific county renovations that we've done, but I can certainly share that because that report has been made. Yes, so we have done renovations, and we had identified whether it was roofing, it was flooring, or doors. All of that has been for 25 schools and more that we have allocated support to the various counties to make sure. As it relates to education materials, we have we started the bidding process for that to ensure that not only are we leaving the procurement of these education materials to the counties, that we're pulling the resources to look at what is needed for instruction in the various schools. And a full list, comprehensive list of education materials were developed, and now that bid is out for education materials to be supplied to the schools. Readiness with teachers and school leaders, that process is ongoing, and our Department of Instruction is heading that activity. With regard to the new schools that were commissioned this year, we have commenced the recruitment of teachers and school leaders. We launched the application online as well as in person. Folks were able to submit their applications through the offices of the DEOs, for which we compiled. And we've used a centralized location in Bon County. So we have folks who are coming from Nimba, Margibi, and as well as Montserrado. The recruitment process is ongoing right now for school leaders as well as teachers in the various academic disciplines.
Let me find out how you using that menu. Are you doing a public survey announcement? You're using the DO, they conduct
No.
public survey announcement.
It was
to submit an application to the DO office.
For the school recruitment.
Yeah.
It was out in the public. It's on the ministry's social media page. The application was launched also online for people who are able to, and because we know everybody don't have internet connectivity, we've allowed them to use the paper form to also submit their applications so that no one is left out of the process if you don't have internet access. But so that process is ongoing. So readiness, we are moving robustly. Our CEOs have been tasked with making sure, they go and make sure that schools are ready for opening. For those schools that are not ready, we've instructed them to ensure that the ministry is informed. We've just even received, just a few weeks ago, update from one of the counties on a school and a BOQ for the repairs that's needed. So we're on task with those renovations that are needed and making headways in that regard. So some of the key challenges, I think, on this agenda that was shared, one of the areas keen on there, I think the chairman shared, with the volunteer teachers. Where are we? As of May 28th to June 26th, the Ministry of Education submitted personnel action notices for volunteer teachers in excess of 2,307 PANs were submitted to the CSA for processing for volunteer teachers. As of September 2nd, we received notification from the CSA that 458 PANs have been forwarded to the Ministry of Finance for placement to payroll. And I made out of the 2,307. So I've had a discussion with the Director General of the Civil Service to say, we need to expedite this process. And not only expedite the process for those teachers that had taught and were supposed to be on payroll, once they get on payroll, they will have to be retroactively paid. So we're going to work, they have agreed, the Civil Service has agreed with the Ministry of Education to fast track this process, so extending the work over the weekends so that we have weekend hours that we're working to ensure that these PANs that have been submitted to them get processed through to get to Ministry of Finance to get the volunteer teachers on payroll that have been captured for this fiscal year. That is the update on the volunteer teachers. And what I would say we currently are working on addressing, and this has been a major concern. I know that the lawmakers, these are concerns in your area as well, is to really work to eliminate the need for volunteer teachers. So with mapping per school, how many teachers do we need in each school across subjects? What we found from our preliminary assessment, there were schools across counties that had number of teachers with low enrollment. So the idea is you have, for example, 200 or 100 students in your school or 50 students in your school, and you have these number of teachers. They need to be redistributed. So that's the redistribution process that we're undertaking at the moment, because we've identified already in some counties where those lapses are. And then, of course, the constraints with science teachers. We see the scores and the results from the WIAC. If we are not, making sure that our school infrastructure and the teaching capacity is where they need to be, we'll continue to have the issues that we have with wire. So what have we done about that? We are making sure that this fiscal year, in addition to the 28 labs that laboratories were currently made available in public schools, we're adding 50 new schools are going to get online with laboratories. The ministry has just procured laboratory equipment for science, for biology, chemistry, and physics for the 50 labs. We're outfitting those 50 labs across 50 public schools to include support to the MCSS in that regard. So we're currently working with persistent infrastructure issues, and one of it is not the public schools that have been built that we need infrastructure. Sometimes it's the community schools that were built out of, without the planning of the ministry. So those schools are across our country, they're in our districts, in our villages and towns, that we also need to help support so that our kids are in an environment that is conducive to learning. This is why the Excel project is going to be critical for foundational learning, to build new schools so that not only are we in new environment, but the teachers that are going to be assigned to those environments are of quality. So we're leveraging for opportunities. We all know the education and health sector was certainly impacted with USAID drawdown. And programs like school feeding, which was one of our critical strategies that we were employing to get students to school, were impacted. Nonetheless, we still have some implementers in the sector that are supporting school feeding. And this year, we were able to get funding through the government appropriations for school feeding, and we're looking to extend that now to 2 additional counties so that all counties in the country will have school feeding program. And donor partnerships have been sought. We're writing proposals alongside, our development partners and looking for public-private collaborations to help sustain the gains. So in conclusion, I would just stress that we need increase and sustained education funding. We cannot stress that enough. All of what the needs are, whether it's preparing the schools, whether it's paying the teachers, making sure equality is not cheap, you have to pay for it. We need to really fund education. We have left a budget gap of $250 million to really fund education in our country. So it's my ask that, we really, as the budget comes through this year, to really support the strengthening of the sector. Even salaries that we pay our teachers, we need to improve on that. To really get quality, we need to pay for quality. So with that, honorable committee, I will rest here and submit, and I'll take questions if you have.
Thank you very much. What we'll do, we'll get presentation from the 3 panelists, then we'll ask the senator to ask questions both ways. So we'll come to Eliu, President of the University of Liberia.
Thank you, Senator McGill, and of course, our own Senator Bachikwa, Chair of our Board of Trustees. I also want to begin by thanking Honorable Minister Jala for her report, because she's also a member of our Board of Trustees, and her report shows the building up of the students that are going to come to the University of Liberia. So thank you, Senators, for meeting with us, the education spectrum in Liberia today, to hear our cases. I want to begin with the context of one of the most important national development goals for higher education in Liberia, and that is the creation of a top 300 in Africa university by 2029. We've got a few universities who could be candidates to fulfill that goal, but the University of Liberia is certainly at the top of that list, and it is a high aspiration for us. So I've done some research on what it might take to get there. And I want to share some of those factors with you so that you can use that as context for what I'm going to say about what we're doing and what we'd like to do. So some of the factors that help us to get a higher rating: our academic reputation, our faculty credentials, our faculty research output, our faculty research citations, faculty awards and prizes, our standout academic programs, our extramural research funding, faculty salaries against a benchmark, our student-to-faculty ratios in the classroom, the financial resources we have per student, our graduation rates, our time to graduation rates, our standardized test scores, our graduate employment quality, where do they go after they graduate, the degree to which we're able to attract international students, faculty, and partnerships. Also, the financial strength of our institution, having a clean audit trail, the quality of our facilities, our infrastructure, having sports facilities, having student well-being factors and employee well-being factors, the institutional assessment of our peer higher ed institutions, and the age or longevity, continuous working of our institution. So, to get from where we are now, from here to there, what will it take? The obvious answer is a bigger budget, but there's another less obvious answer that I want to plant the seed of, and that is what I call a victory of imagination. We often say things fail because people have a failure of imagination, but I'm arguing it for the University of Liberia. We need a victory of imagination, and I'm going to play that out a bit later in this presentation. I want to mention something that I mentioned first in my inaugural address on January 10th. There was something I called the 5 E's, and I've come to think of them as UL's attitude for altitude. The first one is remembering that education is why we exist. That is our mission, that is our purpose, that is our reason for being. That is the thing by which our success will be judged. The second E is effectiveness, how we achieve it. It doesn't matter what we do if what we do isn't effective. University education has to be effective to be worth it. If we train a doctor, they have to be able to do surgery without killing you. If we train an engineer, they have to be able to build a bridge that doesn't collapse. Education has to be effective. But an institution also has to be efficient, particularly in a low-resource environment. We have to be able to do more with less. We have to be careful about how we spend our money. We have to have administrative systems in place that make us able to do things with efficiency and with less duplication or wasted effort. And of course, excellence, the gold standard for education. Academic excellence, moral excellence, those are the things that higher ed institutions should convey in their students over the years that they spend there. They should come out more academically and morally excellent than they entered. And of course, to make all of that work, we need ethics, those guiding principles that keep us doing the right thing and striving towards excellence in everything we do, whether academic or administrative. So these are the guiding principles of the University of Liberia under my administration that I believe will take us to that victory of imagination. So let's begin by taking a stock of where we are financially. I arrived and received a packet of budget information from my predecessor, now Ambassador Alhassan Kante. He let me know that the request that was made last year was $41 million and that we received a subsidy of $33.4 million, for which 90% of that funding was used for personnel. That means salaries plus a little bit for our medical education students to get a stipend. That meant that there was on paper a gap of $8 million, which was partially filled by our internally generated revenue to approximately the figure of $5 million. So that left us with still a gap. I inherited that. Now, in FY 2026, we were told that our budget ceiling for the coming year is again $33.4 million. However, that we have been presented with the opportunity to make the case for what we might actually need. In June of this year, I had the campus participate in a participatory budget exercise in which I asked every unit and every academic department on the campus to give me 3 scenarios. The first scenario is, what would your budget be if you did the exact same thing next year as you did this year? What would your budget be if you did a little bit better, made some reasonable improvements next year, but maybe not everything that you wanted to do? And then I said, if you were doing everything you needed and want to do, what would be the budget for that? So I had each of them provide us a minimum, medium, and maximum budget. And then we took those and added up so that we could understand what is the real cost of doing a business at a flagship national university. And you can see on the handout that I gave you that these figures, which are still in development because there are a few units that haven't reported yet, but even based on the figures we have so far, a minimum budget, just to do what we do now and do it again, is around $38 million, probably more once we hear from everybody. The medium budget is around $52 million, and the maximum budget is around $63 million. So take that as information. We are the national flagship university. We are supposed to be the best in Liberia. We are supposed to stand amongst our peers in the sub-region. We are supposed to stand up as a beacon on the continent of Africa, and when our students leave our university and go abroad, their degree should stand up anywhere. So that's what we're thinking about when we're talking about that maximum budget. But we are still pitching to the realities of Liberia. So we have been talking about a budget request of $44 million. However, this is something that we'll be in conversation about over time. In March, not long after I arrived, the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning gave me a mandate. They said, this business of having 90% of your budget be for personnel is completely unsustainable, and you need to get it down. 55% to personnel, 45% to operations. That's a more normal breakdown. We want you to strive towards that. I said, I agree with you. We cannot continue, because when we have a $33 million budget and we're only using some $3 million, that just pays LEC, buys our fuel, buys a few school supplies, manages not even for everything to be running normally. And so we can't continue like that. It is in fact true. So just so you're wondering, how many people do we have? We have over 28,000 students right now, and that doesn't even account for the new students who are coming in as a result of the recent entrance. Also, we have over 2,200 employees, and we have approximately 800 adjunct professors. This is our contract teaching labor force. Keep those figures in your mind as you imagine. When we started doing the calculation of UL's budget some 10, 15 years ago, we had half that many students. It has doubled. Our budget hasn't doubled, but our number of students have doubled, and our number of employees to serve them has gone up. So I just want to talk through briefly some of the methods that we are planning to implement for meeting this mandate of getting the personnel costs in line with a better proportion within our budget. First of all, we have the low-hanging fruit. Removal of any ghost employees. For example, people who are deceased who by accident or whatsoever have not been removed. People who have left the job for any reason but are still counted. People who are just pure errors of unknown people. Second, removal of those who have violated any UL policies. For example, people who have overstayed on study leave or people who have full-time employment elsewhere. Also, removal of documented headcount no-shows. When I arrived in January, I was told we would have a head count by the end of February, but we got it July 31st. So we're now going through that list. We were given a list of over 400 people who did not show up for the head count. However, that head count did not take into consideration that some of the people on our payroll are on study leave. They are overseas. They are not here. They couldn't be counted in person, as well as there were other people who were absent for other reasons, such as their duties having them off campus. Nevertheless, we had the opportunity to go through that list, make corrections, and we have provisions for those who need to be legitimated. But that still leaves us with a large number of people that we can remove from our payroll. Also, reduction through retirement of employees whose age exceeds the government-mandated age limit for employment status. Now, that is a debatable topic at UL because the government age limit is 60, but in academia, it's highly customary for people who are over 60 to still be teaching and working. And so we are working out what is the right policy for the University of Liberia and how will we do that in a way that's ethical as well as appropriate to our institution and in line with government mandates. However, it will result in some people leaving our payroll. We also have a plan to have the CSA come in and do their personnel and credential verification process and employee status regularization process, and people who fail that and who cannot be transferred to more appropriate employment within UL will also be removed. We will also ultimately need to establish departmental quotas for adjunct employment. some of our adjuncts are good candidates to make full-time employment, including many people who have come back from study leave and are waiting to have their status regularization because of their new and improved degree status. However, some adjuncts will continue to be adjuncts, and departments are going to have a more stringent process for deciding when they need them and how many they can put onto the payroll. We're also going to have a limited administrative reorganization of certain units and certain functions at UL, which will cause us to end up redundant certain employees. And then last, we will have stricter dismissal standards for faculty and staff who commit grave violations of UL or government policies, rules or regulations or laws, such as academic fraud, financial malfeasance, or SGBV violations. And you already saw earlier in this year that as a result of the Dora Cooper case, we did dismiss some staff who, through our investigation, were actually involved in academic fraud. So I want to note that the percentages that we're striving towards, those that we aspire, the 55%, it does depend on the denominator. So with a bigger budget, we have to let go of fewer people. With a smaller budget, we have to make more people leave the payroll. So these are all things in fluidity. I know that a lot of people feel nervous about possibly losing their employment at the University of Liberia, and that there have been a lot of things in the media, many of them false or not authorized by us on those topics. However, ever since MFDP gave us the mandate, I've been very straight and transparent with our employees that there will be changes ahead, that we will try to do it as ethically and compassionately as possible. But if we are to upgrade academic excellence at the University of Liberia and to become a top 300 institution according to the criteria that I shared with you, we will have to make some changes. So you asked about ALPHA's concerns. The University of Liberia Faculty Association, you saw their famous press release, the things they wanted solved within 30 days as a result of their last General Assembly last month. Here is an overview of their issues. I will mention them. I will mention briefly what we're doing about them. Their main concern is about pay. The number one pay issue is back pay for adjuncts and overloads. Many of you know that when I arrived here in January of this year, I inherited the unpaid adjunct bill from 2024 when the University of Liberia had a single semester. As a result of that, I had to take funds from UL's operating budget to pay off the arrears for the adjunct and overtime faculty from 2024. That made a big cut in the available funding that we had for some of our own operational activities during the year. However, ethically, it was important to pay them. However, because we instituted our new regularized calendar, which has 3 terms, 2 regular 16-week semesters and 1 8th semester, and we wanted to help students who had only had 1 semester last year have multiple semesters this year and possibly catch up for graduation, we had to utilize our adjuncts again, and we developed additional arrears. So we have 2 semesters that have been completed so far, the first 16-week semester that went from January to June, and then our vacation school that went from June to the beginning of August. And we have paid for a subset of the adjuncts, we've paid their full arrear for the first semester. For all the others, we've paid half, we still owe half, and we still need to get money for the vacation school. And then of course we have the semester that's starting a week from, or actually a few days from now on Monday, that we will also have to pay for adjuncts. You may wonder, why are we taking that risk? Why are we running up that expense? But if we don't graduate students, we can't make room for new students. We run entrance, we can't let them in if we don't have enough room and chairs in our classroom because the other people haven't graduated. We have got to have people graduating. We have people that have been in our school 10 or 12 years that we have to get out and graduate. The normal time for graduating undergraduate is 4 to 6 years. People shouldn't be there for 10 or 12 years. Sometimes it's understandable because if there's only 1 semester, then you can only go but so far with accumulating credits. But we are packing it in. We are giving the students at the University of Liberia enough semesters to get their credits and graduate on time. And we don't want to let go of that important principle because we know that we are one of the #1 educators in Liberia. So naturally, our faculty want pay for any labor that they've done, and they deserve that. They should have it, and I've been bending over backwards to get the pay. We are in talks with the Ministry of Finance right now about getting some additional coverage to help with those salaries, and we will also have some internally generated revenue that we can use towards that. So that's one big concern. They're also concerned about salary disparities. If you look at UL's payroll, which probably you did because it's been circulating in social media, you will see that many people who have the same job have different salaries, and that has caused concern. Now, of course, limited range within a job is normal. Maybe you're brand new, you've been there a little while, you've been there long. Your salary should be a little different. But it shouldn't be vastly different. You shouldn't have the same salary as somebody who's in a different role that doesn't, your qualifications don't even fit. So the faculty and the staff both are quite worried about salary disparities. What this is going to require is an overhaul of our salary band structure and really going in and reconciling what people's credentials are with what they're doing and what credentials are required for the job. And we are going to be using the data that we get from our process with the CSA to help us do that. So there's more to come. We will rectify those salary disparities. And I'm going to mention that within that, this is one of my personal concerns, that at the University of Liberia, our lowest paid employees, which are maybe 700 people in number, make less than $200 a month, which to me is an abuse of human rights. You can't even get to and from work on $200 a month. And so I have plans in the future to increase because the monetary amount to even double those salaries isn't that great. So salary disparities is one of the concerns of ALTA, and I've just explained my plans there. They also want back pay for a promised increment in the past. That's one I'm still kind of trying to figure out because apparently in years past, there was a time when they were given a 60% increment, but they were promised a 100% increment if they'd been there 5 years. And, there's all these things about, now we've been here 5 years, so now we want the increment. Or, we still are owed something from the past. There are a lot of ideas about what to do about things that you owe people from the past. I don't have the answer to that one yet, but I do want to make sure that everyone at UL, particularly those who are our faculty, particularly those with the strongest credentials, starting with our PhDs, get the pay they deserve. When I looked at our salary structure as it is now, we have myself and our vice presidents in a tier by ourselves. We have a gap, and then we have our deans and our directors at another tier. Then we have the faculty below that. The faculty need to be elevated. They're not in the right tier for the work they did to get those PhDs and those master's degrees, and we are going to rectify that in the year ahead, beginning with the PhDs. All right, and then we have the issue of our facilities. Our staff and faculty, even our students, are rightly concerned with the lack of bathrooms on our campus. When I arrived, we had an assessment that had been done recently by the Ministry of Public Works and informed us that it would cost roughly, I think it's $3.9 million to do all the renovations we needed. And within that, the bathroom cost, which was, I believe, mostly the supplies, was around $300,000. So we were fortunate to get permission from the Ministry of Finance to set aside part of our funding from the operational funding to work on bathrooms. We still have most of that funding set aside, although we had to use a little bit of it to pay some of the half payment to the adjuncts most recently. You might ask why the work hasn't started. The story of the work is a very deep one because when I first came, I thought, this is basically go in and put in some new toilets and sinks. Then I rapidly discovered that because of our lack of regular electricity, which runs our water pumps, the water is not flowing through our pipes. Our pipes have degraded and decayed in the walls. So everything from new boreholes to new pipes to going in the walls to putting the water supply in the bathrooms needs to be done to fix them. It's not just a simple fix. And so we have been collecting the data that we need to figure out which of our bathrooms are the low-hanging fruit that we can fix easiest, get those started. We are also planning, and I thank the board for approving this, we are planning a new bathroom construction at Fendel campus that will be a solar-powered bathroom complex of 20 bathrooms, 10 male, 10 female, including disability access bathrooms. Because of the solar power, we will be adding a student lounge to it in which students can come, charge their phones, have laptop docks, all sorts of things, and water pumping will be built into the solar power, 24-hour electricity, the whole thing. We're doing that for two reasons. One, because we need some very new bathrooms, and Fendel campus has a big need. But we're also doing it because we're looking ahead to solarizing our campuses. And this is a pilot project for us to test the concept because we have got to jump ahead with the energy needs of the University of Liberia. And I'll say more of that in a few minutes, but for now, let's keep going on the OFA concerns. They're also concerned about the condition of their classrooms. You've all famously heard in the news about our chairs situation. We didn't have enough chairs for a variety of reasons. You saw people carrying them around from class to class. There are a number of reasons why that's the case. We've been getting chairs, both buying them and getting donations of chairs as long as I've been there. But figuring out exactly how many classrooms we have, exactly how many chairs we need, exactly what the condition is, and other things that we need for those classrooms is also at issue. It isn't just chairs. Our faculty need whiteboards, they need smart boards, they need projectors, they need all the kind of modern accoutrements, even the most basic ones that enable them to reach the internet, to help their teaching, because we don't have a lot of books, and if you have the internet, you can somewhat make up for that. And also, they need basic desks and other kinds of things for themselves, because so many of our faculty have to stand up, laptop in one hand, no table, and just do their whole class, sometimes for hours, like that. So this is what the OPA wants. They want things fixed up and more conducive to their teaching. They're also concerned about benefits. Health insurance, we have some arrears with our health insurance carrier, Activa. We're working on that. We actually made a recent payment. We're making more payments, but it's a big bill, and it's always something with that very small slice of operation funding. We are sometimes in the position of juggling. The other big issue is NASCORP. We've had conversations, matter of fact, just met with NASCORP this week and made the discovery that we have arrears going back to 2012, and that if everything were to be paid, it would be some $10 million, and that, you know, this is impeding us from being able to put our own faculty on a dignified retirement pension when they finish at UL. So currently, we carry our retirees at 40% or 60%, depending on their years of service and their age when they retire. We carry them on our payroll, so we aren't able to actually retire them fully. That is part of why they're still part of the payroll. However, ALPHA's concern is that they aren't getting the health insurance they need, and that they're not able to get the retirement that they were promised. So those are longer-term solution issues. With the health insurance, we're making some immediate steps right now as we speak. With NASCORP, the meeting that we had this week was the first step to figuring out the longer-term solution. The last thing that ALPHA is really concerned about is their promotion and tenure process. Last year, because of the single semester, there was not a normal invitation for faculty to go up for promotion and tenure. This year, there will be. So that one will be an easy solution, and it's coming. All right. We often get asked questions about the subsidy model versus going back to having tuition at UL. As I've said from the day I've gotten here, it's a government decision. It's not my decision, but I can certainly weigh in, and I can advise them about relevant facts. So I want to just take a moment to say that one of the issues we face is that as our student body rises, we need a certain amount of money per student. With the current subsidy model, the government decides the ceiling, and regardless of how many students we have, we just have to divide it. If we have a tuition-based model, then we get a certain amount of money for each student who comes to us, and that is important. There are positives about this. On the subsidy model, the positive is the maximum access for students at all income levels.
Madam President, there was small. Where are we now with Alpha? Are you going to open next week?
We had a conversation with Alpha last night. They sent us a set of timelines that they would like us to sign off on in order for them to come back in the classroom on Monday. I said, let me look at them. And I looked at them last night. Some of them we can do, some of them we need to amend. So after this meeting, I'm going back to that thing, send it to them and say, let's work.
Because most of your plan are long-term plan. We're looking for immediate solution.
Right, immediate solution.
Immediate solution. So both to you and the
paying the adjuncts, the other balance.
What is it that needs to happen now to solve some of the problem to get children going to school?
Okay, we need $200,000 to pay the rest of the adjunct and overload salaries, which is what they want. And we need to make a commitment. They asked us for timelines on all the other things that they're concerned about. So they want an MOU-like document where that's what they're asking for.
So what plan do you have to solve the problem? I understood that the board trustee met quite recently. What is it that the Senate can do to solve some of the problem to get people going to school?
Yes, the Ministry of Finance, we've asked them for additional funding. So if we get it, great, we're good to go. If we don't, we look to our internal generated revenue, and we will probably pull some more from our bathroom money.
So I wanted to get clear that so when senators are asking questions, they can know what line to take. Because some of these issues want to resolve, not a long-term issue. We know the issues are long, many. Yeah. Okay, go ahead. Just listening to the Minister of Education and the President of the University, I don't think in 1 hour or the next 2 hours we get a decision. What we need now is some immediate solution that allows school to open and allow the university to start. We need time with the sector to be a day, a whole day, beginning in the morning, or we'll have a whole day together, so to explain to us and see how we could probably assess. This is huge. Do presentation, we'll take some questions from the senators. That will also help you when you go back, when you come back next time, you can be able to, based on the issues that were raised with you, some of the concerns that were raised with you, you can prepare yourself to come back, because this hearing will continue next week Tuesday. But it's important for senators who will come to you to ask some important questions so that you can have some understanding of what they are thinking and how we can solve the problem. You raised one issue, maybe you address it, I raised it with you in my office. Right now there's have you seen you talk about transparency and accountability, you talk about corruption in the school. Mm-hmm. Have you seen the video that's going around by the university?
Yes, I've seen several.
I mean, the quite recent one about the math department people.
I haven't seen the math department video, but it's an issue that's been discussed by
somebody accusing. I saw I don't know what is the vice president for fiscal affairs and one of the TA talking about corruption. You have not seen that video?
I haven't seen the video,
I will
but
share
I've
with
seen
you.
other documents.
Yeah, you have to do an investigation. I'll share with you and the chairman of the board of trustees.
Yes, and I'll just mention that the math department as a whole.
Yeah, okay, we'll do a presentation. So, because of the time, I want to give senators the opportunity to ask questions.
Okay.
You can do some summary. We'll continue the conversation next week Tuesday because it's very important. Librarians want to know what is happening. The minister raised some issues, people want to ask questions. I want to talk to MCSS. So we'll continue the conversation. We can't end everything today, but we'll do your presentation. You'll leave it so people can review it.
Okay, sure. So then I'll just say the two biggest things are getting the adjunct and overload salaries settled and getting started on the bathroom construction. Those are the two big things that will really make a difference and get them back. And I want to let you know the adjunct faculty have already agreed they're coming back in the classroom. They're not part of the go slow. They sent their own press release, and with regard to UFO, we had a very productive discussion yesterday, and I feel very confident that we can get to a place where we are in agreement.
So how far we going with that?
We have given a 1-week extension, and then that's it. Because if we go past that,
no problem. One week extension, at least
yes.
Responded to me,
already
to the committee.
1 week.
Okay. No, we taking questions now. I want the step. I want to go by procedure. Let's go to the presentation. I was just trying to, we're not taking questions now. No, I'm just trying to give us some issues to clarify. Yeah, but man, I didn't chair the committee. You soon, so go to the, just do a summary, then we'll go to, doing a question and answer, you can say something you want to say. Yeah, but let you conclude and go to the MCL to make a summary. Then MCL can do it, then we can let people ask questions. So you just do a summary, then during your question and answer period, you can elaborate on some of the things you're trying to do.
Okay, so to summarize, we have a lot of plans to improve the university, and I hope to get an opportunity to present our strategic plan for next year in the new future to this body.
Yeah.
For now, to get us to Monday, which is starting back school, this third semester of this year, we need the money to pay our adjuncts, and we need to get our bathrooms started, and vacation school payments will be included. So we have first semester, we have vacation school, and we have the current semester, all of which we need money. 500,000 will cover all three.
Okay, thank you. MCSS.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, senators, for having me. Thank you, Minister and President Mapayan. As of today, we can safely say that we have already paid the insurance and scholarship for our scholarship students. Is completely paid as of yesterday. So they all set the tuition, insurance, those that qualify for it, they're all paid. We have the documentation to prove that it's paid. Also, it was about why it was so prolonged. I just got this position in July 1st, on July 1st of this year. But as soon as I got in, I saw there was an issue. So we took substantial steps to have it rectified, and it's rectified. We are working on the undertaking of to prevent further academic disruptions. We've done a lot. We visited all the schools, not all of the schools, but so far, I've visited 16 schools, and the schools are in disrepair. Pretty much among all the schools, there's only one school that don't need renovations. All the schools need renovations. So we have also put in for the money the government has given us to start renovation on the 4 primary schools that really need it. The Boswan High School, D12, Anna Wisnan, and the St. Paul Bridge. We are putting the money, we put in the requisition now to do those schools to start on the renovations. And we have also, we're so happy and we thank God that the minister, the president of Liberia, President Boyka, Minister Kafwan, and all of our, and Minister of Education, everybody have seen it fit for the volunteer teachers. So as currently we have about 205 volunteers that will be coming on board. The first 104 has been sitting in the slot for so long, and then an additional 104. So for the current school year, and we're working on it.
Okay, thank you very much. Specifically, I know you have had the opportunity to listen to both the Minister of Education, the President of the University, and the MCSS Acting Superintendent. I will now open the floor for the opportunity for senators to ask questions. We'll start with Senator DeLong.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. Since we will continue these engagements, I will save a lot of my questions for the sake of time. I'm feeling a little down following these presentations. I think we have a gloomy picture here. We must confront and we must fight to. Madam Minister of Education, what can we call? What is the 2025 budget for the education sector? The sector that includes the University of Liberia, the MCSS, the entire education. What's the budget appropriated?
Before me, I have the ministry's budget and not the total sector. So the total for this current year budget is $53,372,000 and $621.02 for the Ministry of Education only.
You are coming for this hearing, and we have thought you, as head of the sector, you know what the budget of the sector is. Then we'll break it down so we know what we're looking for or how we can present it here.
I can certainly pull that up in a minute.
Yeah, so, okay. I just wanted to.
Okay.
Madam University of Liberia President, your presentation is so eye-opening, insightful, and it calls for concern. If you want 200,000 to open a university, is that what I'm saying? Is that what I'm hearing? If you, to resolve the immediate problem that is before us, to open a university, solve the problem with your faculty, you're talking about 200,000 to 300,000? No, you see, so we want, from a point of view right now, it is a matter of emergency and urgency. Every university requires out of your budget of 33 million, right? If you're requiring 300,000 to 400,000 to open a university, we can say that and send for the Minister of Finance. Then it means we're serious.
All right, what we submitted, Liberian dollars, 202,294,402.50.
That's what you need now.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, you can live with the chairman on Ways and Means. You let get Minister Kafuan, let him come get it for that money. We got all these. Yeah, we got all. Let's get the money up today or tomorrow. Let's take it. Let's do that as a matter of urgency that it deserves.
I can say that we've been in talks with the ministry and they've been favorable. I don't worry that they won't help us.
You see that the problem. One want to easy. You want to have the minister now, right? You have the minister of finance. I want push for us. Yeah. I want push for us to get the minister of finance because in my view, that you find it challenges in getting 200,000 to 300,000 from the finance minister. Because on the budget, the money sounds fine on the paper. To get it, to get the cash is where you can have the problem, I believe. Then it makes it appear as if to say there's no budgetary appropriation from the legislature. If you need 200,000 to 300,000 up to 400,000 to open the university, 500,000 to open the university next week, this committee, even on recess, we can summon the finance minister here.
We would welcome it. We would welcome it.
On education is here. The chairman on where you go? And where's the miss? The trustee board chair of the University of Liberia is a senator. He here, and the university cannot be closed for 500,000. Especially that you need on him. I just wanted to make that point, and we want to make sure that we get Minister Kafuan here tomorrow to get these people the money. Number two, and tomorrow is Friday. Number two, if we don't do it, a university open, that the legislature budget will be looking in the whole budget. The country budget is 800 million. The country budget is 800 million. The reason I asked the Minister of Education, who is the head of the education sector of our country, what is the budget for the education sector? Because I know that is pretty close to over 111 million. 119. 1 million shy of 120 million we've appropriated for the education sector, out of which University of Liberia gets 33 million. Correct?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Fine. So, but if the university open on Monday because of 500,000, they carry you running as a senator. That won't be the reason why the university open. We better send for Kafuan here. Then they can get about their money. So when we come to the other policy issues later on, we will discuss a lot of issues from your presentation. But Madam Minister, before we leave, I just want to ask one question. What happens with civics in public schools or in the schools, the curriculum? What happens with civics?
Civics is returning. When I came, it was not part of the curriculum, but it is returning to schools for senior secondary. For primary schools, we've been able to include civics. There have been civics books that have been distributed at the primary level up to 6th grade. So that is the state of affairs on civics education.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Madam Minister, next when we're meeting, I want an aftermath budget from the Minister of Education on quantity of chairs that have been procured and counties for supply and distribution and schools in the various counties. We will push further for other things, but I think I should respect the time and for my colleagues to come.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Sir DeLong.
Take his
Yeah.
notes correctly. Itemize a budget of, you want counties,
where you don't do distribution, and one, the quantity more required to fund the next budget. Aftermath budget.
if I can just, I will submit that, but just for the record, there is no allocation specific for chairs purchasing in the budget. But we've been able to purchase.
But you can decide. You can say how many
Yes.
chairs we need. You know, we need 50,000 chairs.
That's it.
Then the cost, you can put a cost there. You
Thank
need
you.
200,000 where you want to send the chairs.
All right.
Another issue you raised in your presentation, you talk about 250,000 students in 7 counties. Can you break it down for us to say Buffalo County, how many children you want to put in school so we know? Then each of the counties, how you came up with 50,000, you can allocate the counties. You know the chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Let me just let's put it into context. To the controller, I don't know, maybe that my prior will be coming later. Did I hear you say the university needs 200,000 United States dollars to open, or 200? Is it 200,000? No, let me just be specific here.
Okay, the communication sent to the Ministry of Finance for total liabilities due adjourned total LRD 202,294,402. At the midway stage, we were requesting at least an initial phase of 500,000 United States dollar, or its equivalent to open school on Monday.
Okay, so let me just pull you there. What's the equivalent of that 202 million? Is it $1 million United States dollars?
Most definitely $1 million United States dollars.
Okay, so what portion of your budget you're requesting that money from?
Okay, during the president's presentation, she mentioned that the 2025 budget, what we had allotted to adjunct instructor was utilized in the form of a arrear for last fiscal year.
Okay, so no, let's be specific. You have on the free tuition policy of $3.4 million for this fiscal year.
No, the free tuition policy is less than that for this fiscal year. The free tuition policy runs around $1.5 million, 1.5, 1.9.
I have here in this 2025 fiscal budget under the University of Liberia, free tuition started in 2023 of 1.1 million. 2024 it went to 1.9 million, and then the uptrend was 1.9. 2025 is $3.4 million.
Okay. Are you telling me you have a different budget? Okay, so we can officially confirm for the free tuition policy for 2025. In total, we've received $1.9 million for the entire year for 2025. The $3.9 million was allotted to what we refer to as renovation.
No, you said you had a free tuition policy of 1.5. You didn't agree with the amount in the budget.
So the $1.9 million is the entire fiscal year total free tuition operational subsidy for 2025.
So it's on the line free tuition policy $3.4 million. What's something up to $3.4 million? On your budget. You should have the budget. I mean, this is what we passed. Because we can be passing something here, then you'll go at the university and have something different that will pin us bad, that we're not supporting. We have a very incremental tuition-free policy and payment from the government of Liberia, starting from 2023, 24, and then 25. So can you speak to that?
Yes, please. So, during the promulgation of the free tuition policy, it stood initially, I think, at $1.5 million. During the course of that was per semester. The next academic fiscal year, that particular amount reduced. So we started to receive around 750,000 per semester, totaling at 1.5. For last year, we received for free tuition policy for the total in the year.
So we're running a calendar year now, fiscal, like a calendar year. So how many semesters you run through the calendar year?
We run 2 semesters.
But then
excluding this the vacation too for this fiscal year.
But then we are in line. We're speaking the same thing. We're not saying 2025, 2026.
Yeah.
So we are saying 2025. I'm seeing $3.4 million under the tuition-free policy program. And you are not agreeing with me on that. So I want to find out what line did you request for the $1 million United States dollars to have the university open?
Okay, for the amount in question, we were informed initially by the Ministry of Finance that amounts allocated for adjuncts for 2025 had already been utilized against liability incurred from 2024. So we were told, given the recent situation at the university, they've informed us to come and make a case moving forward for the going concern. What takes us to the finish line for 2025 regarding setting our adjuncts as well as looking to the prospect for 2026. That was the essence of that meeting, and from that meeting we presented to them our liabilities due adjunct for semester 1 in 2025, actual semester 1 in 2025, as well as vacation school arrear.
Okay, so we'll talk on that later. I think we can have a little, the board chair is here, we'll have a little discussion. But just by what you internally generated for 2025, your projection for internally generated revenue, it stands at $5 million. You are now closing on the registration process. Are you telling us that the university has not generated $1 million out of that internally generated revenue from your own, process to kickstart some of the things before the government can come in?
Okay. As part of the university drive to kickstart some of the process before central government comes in, what we've done, we've been able to settle from our internally generated revenue.
How much have you generated as we speak?
Okay, I'll have to look into the financial. I can get it. I can pull it up.
You should have it. We're trying to address the situation. We're trying to address it, and we can't be waiting for That's why you have a provision to generate internally from all different activities. So if the government hasn't come in as you expected, I think that should be a buffer area that you could, So you are telling us now you don't know how much you have generated.
I can confirm how much you've generated. I just need to pull up the data very fast for you.
Okay, so you can do that. Yeah. Then while we also look at the line you made the request on, if it is not in your budget, clearly state that it is not in the current 2025 budget. What you requested from the Ministry of Finance. If it is there, please tell the body it is in our budget and we need it, they can raise it. Then we push to make sure that you have it. So while you're looking for the internal revenue generated for this current semester, I will want to move to the Ministry of Education. Yeah, Madam Minister, thank you for the presentation. You said you are doing some expansion. Under your expansion program, you have $2.3 million. How much of that money have you received? Is the expansion of the facility considering procurement of chairs, since indeed it is not specified, but you have a lump sum amount of $2.3 million for the expansion and improvement of educational infrastructure under the 2025 budget. Are you aware of that?
I will speak generally. Thank you for the question, Honorable Mui. I will speak generally to the expansion, but the 2.3 million, I don't know what that's referencing. But for chairs, for the procurement of chairs, We have begun that process to procure 20,000.
So let me hold you there.
Uh-huh.
So that I'm not talking something like everybody's strange show.
Okay.
The code on this line is 0238. Expand and improve education infrastructure. $2.3 million. This is the 2025 budget final.
That's
draft.
the PSIP. Okay.
Yes, yes.
Now we're
Uh-huh.
on the same level.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
That's the public sector investment program.
Yeah.
Yes.
So under that PSIP, what portion of the money you have received and how did you apply them?
For the PSIP, we've received the entire amount, which is the total of the 4 point.
This will be 4.7.
4.7 million.
We're just taking the expansion aspect, 4.7.
Yes. So in terms of all that have been appropriated, we have received that from the Ministry of Finance.
Okay, so the
Specific for infrastructure.
Okay, so the question, like my colleague started, Honorable Twine, that the concern we have as senators, having oversight over our different counties, some of the counties are not ready, some of the infrastructure. Specific reference was made to Bapolu and a few other counties. Have you done any renovation work in different, remote areas of our country?
Yes, we have done renovation work, and I can pull that information.
Okay, so the chairman will have you send
Yes.
it to us so that we are informed, we're on our break, then we can go and check.
Absolutely.
So you are provided.
And there are images from beginning, when we started renovation to when we completed, so before and after, across 25 schools as of now.
Is a school feeding program impacting all the schools, the public schools across the country?
Not all the public schools. School feeding programs is only centralized to primary schools at the moment.
Primary schools
are the ones that are benefiting
across the country.
Across the country, except 2 counties, Grand Cru and Sino, didn't have school feeding. For this school year, we're adding Grand Cru and Sino on the school feeding program.
Which are the group you partnering with to implement this?
Currently, the implementers in the sector is WFP, is one major implementer that's working with the ministry. There's also Mary's Meals, that's working with the ministry, and a third that's not coming out, but there's 3 implementers. We've lost Mercy Corps as a result of the USAID pullout.
Okay, so to the UF, can we go there? Let me give a chance to my colleagues. So can you just provide all that information? Where did you, send the information on your line in the budget for the 1 million? What was the request for the 1 million tied to in your budget?
Okay, so the 1 million we were told initially that what was allotted to our budget for adjuncts for 2025 during the President Dr. Mapayan's investiture ceremony. There was a declaration made by the President of the Republic of Liberia authorizing the Ministry of Finance to clear our part-time arrears for 2024. We were informed later by the Ministry of Finance Authority that particular money for our 2025 line budget item for the part-time was used to clear out that liability. Hence, we had no amount or allotted amount on our line to for our part-time liability.
You're telling me the president's statement is a policy statement, and you made that, and on account of that, you depleted your budget, and currently you're asking the government to restore that line.
Okay, so during the course of the president,
which one you dodging again? You going back and forth.
Yeah. I want to be a little bit more clearer in my responses. So when we began our 2025 fiscal year budget, we had on our line for adjunct instructor for 2025 and a lot amount over $1 million.
I got you. Good. I got you. Good. So when the president visited, he made a statement that you supposed to clear the
Minister of Finance.
Minister of Finance should clear who?
Minister of Finance he authorized the Minister of Finance to pay the adjuncts arrears for 2024.
So the adjunct arrear was not budgeted for in the 2025.
No, the Minister of Finance said they were not going to.
So they use a line
exactly
to clear that.
To clear that.
So we're just saying the same thing.
Yes.
So the president made a policy statement that needed to be enforced by the ministry, and they went into your budget and used money that was not appropriated for that particular policy statement effectuation. And what you say? So it has become a liability, current liability to the government of Liberia. So that's it. So we want to pursue now to ensure that the Ministry of Finance make good, the amount that was taken from your line as a result of the president's statement. So we are clear on that. So let's go to the internally revenue stuff here.
So as of June 30th, 2025, we can confirm internal revenue sits at $865,183 United States dollars.
As of June 30th?
Yes, please.
So we are in September?
Yes, August and September, we normally...
Can you disclose the current balance now or the unencumbered bottom of that money? I know you're doing some contracts, other things. Unencumbered bottom of that money?
So unfortunately, I don't have the balances here to disclose, but we can put.
Okay, so do that through your chair.
Yeah,
some administrative decision could be made while we're pushing the Ministry of Finance to make good the president's commitment to the university.
Okay.
So you get that?
Yes. So just to give additional information, please. This particular amount in question, it is important to note that as part of the university first-hand move to see some of these concerns being discussed and taken care of, the university to date have paid portion of this particular amount owed the part-time. We've paid in the total of $251,000 to date.
I'm not disputing that. I'm just saying the unencumbered, those ones that you have not touched, that is sitting in your account unencumbered. That means nothing attached to that particular money to complete the balanced semester. I'm just saying something so that your board chair will know, then we all will know. Then we can talk across government to see how they can raise and what instruction can be given for you to proceed. I know it's meant to finish the semester, but in case we have a problem, we can say, do this while we're getting the ministry to come in, and we can have that kind of understanding. So lastly, Doug, your minimum amount that you require, what percentage of the minimum 38 million, if the government should make it available, will impact the 3.9, renovation and getting the building up to date? Because I'm sure the 3.9 million that is required to get the University of Liberia, for the 4 campuses, giving your survey that you did and placing the survey report to minimum, median, and maximum. And the maximum is $63 million. Did you prorate portion or all of the 3.9 into the different categories that you just placed here? If we had to fund the university with the whole minimum amount of $38 million, what portion of the 3.9 will be embedded in that $34 million, $38 million? If we are funding the University of Liberia to a median level, 52 million, what portion of the 3.9 million that will be embedded into that $52 million? So that when we pay in the 3.9 or $52 million, we'll see, look, the university, with all the renovation and some of the work, we saw the barroom, will be at the median level. Then the maximum is 62. So did you take into consideration, having done the assessment of the university and needing 3.9 million to get it to where it should, at a minimum level, did you take into consideration the 3 different stages?
Yes, let me answer that. The assessment that was done by Ministry of Public Works is held as a constant in terms of that work needs to be done regardless of what our budget is. And it covers the bathrooms. And it covers
so it has nothing to do with the minimum, the median and the maximum. It has nothing to do with that.
No, it doesn't. The only project that is new and not in there that we're intending to complete is the solar bathroom project. So
if the librarian send it through the chair on education should make the case, how long it would take you to utilize the $3.9 million?
we would get started immediately and we would use it.
Can you do it in one budget year or two budget year? And that's what I'm trying to say.
Certainly, yes.
Which one you agree to?
I would say one budget year.
Oh, okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
After the speaker, I'll come to you. No, guess what? I get my secretary.
Thank you, Senator Jalas. Thank you. Mr. Chairman, an observation again. I think the University of Liberia should start wasting our time. They have the money, open school on Monday, the committee and the chairman of Ways and Means to make sure that the Ministry of Finance replenish whatever they use, but the school should be open on Monday. So all idea going back and forth, they got some internal collection, should make sure school will be on Monday. And then now the committee and the Ways and Means committee can push for finance to replenish that. But let me come to the Ministry of Education. And the reason we flag these things and I prompted this hearing today is because, like one of my colleagues said, we went around and we see this. We see these issues. But the one that caught my attention the most is the one with the teachers. In my district, in my county and several districts there, it's difficult to find teachers to teach because you set a standard that says C certificate minimum. So in the absence of that, the students are sitting, they are not going to school because we don't have teachers that have C certificates. So I want to recommend is something that you could probably consider that those who have high school diplomas or high school graduates could be given some crash courses to start to teach while they go during the vacation to some of the teacher training institute to branch themselves. Otherwise, we'll have to wait for you to train people. That would take maybe a year or so or 2 years while the students are waiting. I want you to take that into consideration. Did you get it? Are you following?
I'm certainly following, Honorable.
Okay.
While yes, the issues that you mentioned are chronic in our system, the reason we see what we see on the WIAC output is the foundation that our students are receiving. And we cannot continue to water down standards. We have to make sure that we're working in tandem fast to make sure the right people are teaching our students.
So, Madam Minister, let me hold you there. Do we have sufficient certificates prepared to go in the different areas?
Do we have enough C certificates? I would want to believe so, because just my assessment of volunteer teachers across the system, there are over 6,000 that we identified. Over 2/3 of them have C certificates. So that's a crop of folks that we can even start with. And then, as you mentioned, the refresher that they need, we can add that refresher. Yeah.
So then we don't have adequate certificates because I'll give you a classic example. I went through your work. I looked in the counties, I couldn't find them in Bomi. Bomi is just a stone throw from Monrovia. I couldn't find certificates. Holders will be able to teach. So if you can provide, so I'll be happy. But please take what I'm saying into consideration. Let's see how that can help. The other thing is the organization you talk about. Just as I think just last week, our colleagues Senator Vapla posted a school from Cape Town. I think the one I was around the main road, and it was in a very deplorable condition. So just that you started, I think again you have to leave you gotta go back on the field to make sure these things are done. We shouldn't just take what they say for it. The one I saw broke my heart. That particular school was really, really terrible. That's the comment I want to make, and I'm encouraging you and the minister, the University of Liberia, to do us a comprehensive presentation for us to look at before you come. Then there's something that we address the problem together and see how all of us can fix it. It's not intended to push everybody around. It's intended for us to look at the problem and see how we can fix it together. Thank you. Thank you, Senator Tupu.
Thank you, Honorable Chair, distinguished senators. I'm a little bit reluctant, but I will have to just be a part of making contributions because when the Minister of Education came here for confirmation, I asked only 2 questions, and based on that, I gave my vote. One was our ability to work with the Senate to making sure that the work is done. Because you may have all of the credentials you may have all the strategy you have, but once you don't have the support from the legislature and the force that will be exerted on the executive to make sure finance, you will not succeed. The second is respect for the rule of law. And she said yes, and I made reference to the Educational Reform Law. That law is not being respected by the Ministry of Education. That law is not enforced, so I think the Ministry of Education is acting outside of the law, especially when it comes to the establishment of county educational board and their operation. I want to state that for the record. That made me reluctant because that's one of the reasons why I gave my vote. Told the Minister of Education. But not to go by that law, I have an issue. I want to go to the Ministry of Education, University of Liberia. What? Oh, by hiring the county educational officer in DEO, we are going in line with the law. We are establishing the county educational board, the district educational board, for appointing people and giving them tenure, using part of the law to give them tenure, but not using the law to recruit them. That's the issue. I raised that on this floor. I'm saying it right here. But we come to that point, yes. I just want to say it for the record. To the University of Liberia, I listened to the president, and I admire your presentation to the point where something struck me, that the University of Liberia opened for 1 semester, 2024. Isn't so? So what you said, 1 semester in 2024. But we spent more than $33.4 million for 1 semester. Just 1 semester. It was closed for half of it. Only for the whole year, it only opened for a semester. But we spent, $30 million. It was also closed, and we spent $1 million for renovation. Are you aware? $1 million was given to the 2024 for the renovation. I don't know what was it used for. It's in the budget. $1 million in 2024 for renovation and rehabilitation. $1 million. I'm not going to speak on alternate because the audit report for the Ministry of Finance on the consolidated statement indicate that the entire budget of 2024 was spent. So I'm not discussing alternate. The University will tell us whether it's alternate. Mr. Chairman of the board, you want to join it, please? I want the president to tell us here, the Liberian people, the $1 million for renovation and rehabilitation for 2024. Did you receive it, Mr. Controller? No.
I can confirm the university did not receive that amount.
Thank you. That's what I want to hear. So, look, Chairman on Education, you want to look at the consolidated financial statement of the Ministry of Finance, right? Page 1, page 323. of the budget
They
book.
provided information.
Yeah.
Doing writing. Just
Mr. Chairman, what should I write you? I'm giving you information here on your committee on education.
okay, Secretary.
That money, the Division of Finance reporting information, and the institutions are reporting different things. That's why I'm raising the issue. And that's the reason why we should bring the Minister of Finance here. Yeah, please. I'm not going to share you maybe behind the scene. I'm going to say it right here to the point. So I thank you very much. It's enough.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm proceeding. Are we together? Senator Jala, please. Senator Councilor Jala. Yeah. Madam President, University of Liberia, I speak to you not as a senator, but as a former staffer of the university. I see the passion you have. I serve as a teaching assistant at the university. I serve as research officer at the university. There was a time between 1987 and 1990, there was a lot of strike at the faculty. So there was some solution in place. The government was able, I cannot confirm, but you can look into it, to choose a large taxpayer whose tax regularly was just sent to UL account, and the government, Minister of Finance will get a receipt, which is a lot of burden to raise voucher. Huh? which just circuited some of the problem of raising voucher, waiting for revenue for the entire government account before some can go to the university. So it helped to minimize some of the strike. Maybe you might want to initiate discussion on that. Because there are a lot of large taxpayers. They can just look for one and say, for the sake of education, to deal with the university, this is how we want to proceed, and they can make it as a policy. That is one. The second thing is that it comes back to you. Your appointment was a big concern for some of us at the Senate. The impression was that, or the perception, not impression, was that you will be a lot to the university in terms of resource generation. Can we look into that? Is that a fair statement? That your coming to the university is to take the university one step beyond the regular struggle of other institutional head, or especially the University of Liberia. Is that a fair statement to say that your coming to the university will help the university to get a lot of resources and to reduce the struggle it's been having? Would that be a fair statement? That's that.
Thank you.
Yes, that would be a fair statement.
Thank you, Chair. The last minute. But you answer the question. Is it a fair statement?
But let me go to the Minister of Education. I heard you in your deliberation saying that you were shifting teachers from one place to another if the flow of students in the schools are not enough. Because I have a situation in my county where teachers were taken away from school and I saw only one teacher in the whole school. So I would like for you to give me a fair report as to the shifting you did in Cape Mount, and also to give us a clear list of the teachers, the number of teachers, or is there any program set up to say, okay, you have elementary school and elementary schools you have
at least 2 teachers or 4 teachers or 10 teachers, so that a standby can be set up. Because what happens is parents are taking their children from the town to send to a bigger town because there are no teachers in school. That's a burden by itself. Then you taking teachers from there because maybe, for example, there are science teachers in those schools and you need a science teacher in one of the bigger town, and so you take it from there and send it, and the people suffer from not having teachers in the various towns. The next thing I would like for you to do is to give us a clear list of schools that you have renovated in Cape Mount. Because I know you are seated up there and people give you all the information. They have done this, they have done that. Sometimes it's not an actual reality. So there are more schools in Cape Mount that need renovation. And I think up to today, I can't remember any other school that is really renovated. That's one of my major concerns because the shortage of teachers in our country is so huge. There are other teachers who are also having C certificate and they cannot be employed. I hope that we'll be able to employ them this time around. And it's a major concern. And you talk about the school feeding program. You talk about the 2 counties that do not have a school feeding program. What causes to not have the people being part of it? Grand Crew and Sando. You started giving feeding program to all your counties, and then you let the 2 counties off, particularly why?
Thank you, Honorable. The school feeding program is what I came and met that was in operations. 13 counties. What derived the decision for, starting in the 13 counties, I'm not aware, but I was of the opinion, just like I advocated for the Excel project, for which it was being, discussed to pilots in a few counties. I said, no, every county needs to feel this project. So it was the same method that I applied. Why are all the, most of the primary schools across the counties not benefiting? And we need to ensure that these schools are also, part of the school feeding program. But unfortunately, like we all realize, the shock to the system, USAID, who was funding most of these school feeding programs, pulled out. But thankfully, with the budget support, we are now going to be able to extend Sino and Grand Crew to the counties that will be receiving school feeding support.
Ask a question. Okay, but let me intervene. How do you feel as a minister? Okay, what? Let me know. How you came about in establishing which school should benefit from school feeding program in the country and the other schools?
So, as a Minister of Education, I know the importance of feeding kids in school. As it relates to the criteria, there's a school feeding policy that the ministry developed during Minister Edmona Tape's time. And it's that school feeding policy that dictates what the school feeding...
So each county, how many schools are benefiting from that program?
I can certainly share that in a report. Off the top of my head, I can't give you that.
So
but
Tuesday, you can bring a report.
Certainly, even before that, I can submit ahead of my comment. I've taken notes on those, and those will be included.
During the negotiation, you said that there are some you are looking at, and there are some that you think you cannot take. Will you share with us those things that you think that you are going back to look at today, and that will enable you to open the university maybe on Monday? And what are the difficult issues that you think you will not take at all and that we need to solve? Anyhow, I want to be much more clearer so we can understand the issues that you are confronted with that.
For the adjunct, for the alpha demands, I think the ones that we can deal with are the back pay for the adjunct and overload teaching for 2025. I think that we can get started on the bathrooms. construction beginning. And I think that we can address some of their concerns about the medical insurance. Those are the ones that are, I would call the low-hanging fruits that we can really get started on. Some of the longer-term infrastructure things and some of the other issues they mentioned would take longer. Another one, though, that we can start soon, the promotion and tenure process. We set the annual calendar and we launch it in September or October so that all those who want to be considered for promotion can be. That's already in the works.
The one that you can't take the high ones. That's what I want to know.
Right.
The difficult ones.
Well, pay disparities is one. That one requires more research and it requires us to get through the validation process. And Finance Ministry approval of our other budget requests. Some of those we're still in process. We won't be able to do.
Counted there were 8. So 8 times 15 is what we need.
And you 8 times 15. Somebody do that math, please.
At that time,
Yeah.
I should say, because
What time was it?
in it, we did that assessment early this year. But in addition to that, we had storm damage of schools that were okay at that time, but now have been added for need for renovation.
That means we were talking about 120 schools across the country.
Correct.
And if they are damaged school due to other force majeure, that means we can take that number even up to 150. And you say you've only renovated 25. With that said, when schools are set to reopen, public schools?
September 1, per the academic calendar, was when schools were supposed to open.
Are schools open based upon the schedule?
Schools are supposed to be open.
That doesn't answer my question, Madam Minister. Are schools opened?
Yes.
Because you are the Minister of Education. You should authorize when school will open. You authorize the calendar. As public schools open now?
Public schools are open.
And what happened to those schools that are not renovated?
The renovation will continue.
And where will the students be?
The students will be there because some of the renovations is not roofing.
Okay.
Some of the needs are seating. Some of it is doors. Some of it is painting. So a kid can go to school while the school is still being painted.
Have you put a number to dollars and cents to what it will cost to renovate the more than 120 schools?
We've quantified them by counted, but I can get an aggregate number for you. But we've categorized each of the counties and the schools and the type of renovations that they need.
In terms of money, because we're trying to solve some problems here. In terms of money, have you gotten a figure in mind as to what will it cost for the 120 schools to be renovated or more?
As I stated earlier, Senator, we have them by county, and I can have my DMA do an aggregated amount for the total, because some schools, some areas are different than the others in terms of the kind of renovation that's needed.
Yeah, you see, that is worrisome to me, the fact that we know we should be renovating more than 120 schools, and yet then we don't know how much each of the renovation will cost, so that we can know the total cost of that renovation, so that we can start to at least stretch our muscles now on policymakers who's able to make those fundings available, and schools are open, and those schools are dilapidated and need renovation. That is a problem, Madam Minister.
Honorable client, it's not. That is not here. I'm looking at it right in front of me, but I will bore you if I go, school by school, estimated cost.
I don't even want school by school. I just want a total sum for what will it take for the more than 120 schools. If you don't have that, then Tuesday you can make that available. Because like the University of Liberia did, we know if we gave them $550,000 today or tomorrow, they will be able to start school anytime next week or week after. I just want simple for the Ministry of Education, because the crux of the matter that brought every one of us on our vacation for this hearing is that senators have noticed that many of the schools are not yet ready for opening, and that's why we are here. So I just want to know how much will it take. And MCSS also falls on that. You said all of the schools except for 8 require renovation. Is that true? MCSS.
We have 4 schools that are now, we have identified, we're going to be working on. 4 schools. There are more, because like I said, we have visited 16 schools, and only one school out of the 16 is habitable.
And the rest? Are school open now in the MCSS school system?
Yes, we have. Based on the calendar of MOE.
Do we have any roofing problem? Because we do have.
Yes, we do have roofing problems.
So what happens when it rains currently now? When did you discover this problem? School has been closed for 2 months now. When did you realize that there's a roofing problem in school? Because like the minister said, you can get away with windows and maybe floor or what have you, but you can't get away in the rains with roof.
What we have done, and like I said, because I started July 1st, and I did some of the survey. So the only thing at this point we can do now, we'll try to see how we can minimize the situation and look at the schools to adjust maybe classrooms that are worse off to be able to.
Madam, I yield my time back, and with that, Mr. Chairman, I will proffer to the committee that Tuesday hearings, let's have some numbers from the sector and invite the representative of the Ministry of Finance here so that we can, be put. I wish you use your office to inform the Minister of Finance before they can come so that they can start thinking about some of these things and the Ways and Means Chair. I don't know whether he's here. I think the Secretary of the Committee is here so that we can be forward thinking so that by Tuesday we can solve some of these problems. Even if it's a delay for a week or 2, then we can lay some of these things to rest. Thank you.
Just briefly, I want to thank the witnesses. Maybe my comment with the university will be the last. Madam Minister, let me really understand, is it you that implementing the President's One Child, One Chair program?
We are implementing along with the Ministry of State. They have a component of it, but the ministry is driving it.
Okay, so how far it is now?
We have from the employees who did not do their, the LACC process. I think their salaries that were withheld were close to $90,000, so we put that money towards purchasing chairs. And we've contracted with MVTC to produce some of those chairs, a little over 1,000. But in addition to that, we're in the process now, just contracted vendors for 20,000 additional chairs that we're securing for the schools. And that process has started. The contractors have been provided the necessary advances to procure the chairs for the schools. Budget through the PSIP, the one that Senator Moi referenced.
Okay, so the distribution has not been gone?
No, the distribution has not been gone.
Okay. You talked about, my colleague just talked about, was talking with you about the schools that need renovation. But you have earlier said about 25 schools all over the country were renovated. Are they part of that 120?
Correct.
Okay, so the 25, are they affecting all counties or only one area?
No, they're affecting across the country. And that I will add that report prior to my coming on Tuesday, so the Senate will have that information.
Okay, when you're talking about scholarship support, I see you allocated fees per country. Those fees are only for allowances, for not school fees.
Not school fees, correct, sir.
Because the countries provide the school fees.
Correct, sir.
Oh, okay.
The scholarship program. So the foreign scholarships are provided by the foreign governments that support the scholarship.
Okay, so you said 2022, 2023, there were arrears. And those arrears, so were those schools still making those people, even when the money was not being paid, that have to make you to pay the money?
Are you referring to the local scholarships at this point?
Local scholarships.
Yes, the schools, the students that were going we had to reach out to those entities to say, please allow the students to register while we work along with the Ministry of Finance to release the funds to get this
For
person
2
to schools.
years.
I've been here a little under 2 years, and so that is why we have not started new students on the local scholarship, because we wanted to pay down those areas, and we've been able to make that 510,000 in payments to the different schools.
Okay, so for the University of Liberia, the request is that the 550,000 should be disaggregated as the areas, the adjunct and the vacation school, and then the renovation. Those 3 lines make it clear, and then you make the communication, and that's what the chair is expecting to inform the Minister of Finance quickly. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Again, like I said, this hearing will continue on Tuesday. But a lot of ground that we need to cover. Liberians are watching this program. They are interested in the educational sector. The University of Liberia being the premier university, everybody want to make sure that the school reopens. And the number of students, you're talking about 28,000 students now. In the schools, you can see the stress the school we currently have, and you're talking about. You are right when you say you need to graduate people to enroll new students, because you can't just be enrolling students and the students are in the school, and a good administrator is on the board, correct? And you are the Minister of Education. So we have to find a way to make sure we move people, and we can't get people overstaying at the university for 10 years. I don't see that happening. You know, when we entered the university in 1995, Patrick Sion put more than 800 students at the university because they've been there, they stay long, they overstay. So they are clear university before we enter. So we'll be inviting the minister, because I think tomorrow too early. We'll give the minister an opportunity, like you say, you trust the minister. I know he's listening to see whether he can do something between now and Monday, but if he can't do anything Tuesday, we'll be inviting to appear along with you and the other authorities to give some clarity. Minister, on the last question, my coach just asked on the president, one child, one chair policy. What is the actual goal? What do you intend? How many chairs do you really want to produce? Do you talk about one child, one chair? Right now, the enrollment, I know it's more than 1 million, correct?
We're over 1.2 million. We just completed the census, the annual school census.
So you think we can get 1.2 million chairs out there?
We have some chairs. We have phases that we're making sure that
so you
chairs
can
are in
you
school.
give an estimate of what is it you want to achieve? What is it the parent want to achieve when they say one child, one chair policy? Because most of the schools don't have chairs. If you just go to Market alone, when I travel to most of the public schools, you haven't found chairs in the school. Most of the chairs are rocking. And sometimes people are asking the students in the community to bring chairs for themselves. So we let them know, because 20,000 chairs, is infinitesimal. Not anything. So when you saw Senator Dillon asking you, we need a program budget, the Senate chair we need, that way Senator Dillon will go and member of the Senate. Let you know, so that the pronouncement, not just mere pronouncement, there's something that we can actualize. And you being a member of the committee along the Ministry of State. So, Ma'am, MC said, you talk about paying the children fees, the children in India. I didn't get you clear. Can you clarify?
Yes. We have paid all of the tuition. Everything is paid.
You sure?
I'm positive.
Because Wednesday complaints that it's not true.
Well. Yes, sir. Yeah, the scholar. That's what I met when I got to the MCSS.
Okay. Yeah, okay, so they stop paying insurance.
Stipend insurance, whatever is attributed to what we met is what we paid.
Okay, ma'am, yeah, well, anyway, education, are you responsible? So please work with it. Please work with MCSS.
I've certainly worked with her
Yeah, please work with
to
MCSS.
expedite
Please work
the
with MCSS.
issues. Yes.
But I want to thank you. I want to thank the panelists for coming, the witnesses for coming. Education is a human rights issue, and as a matter of fact, you people are the drivers of education in Liberia. So we want to make sure that working along with policymakers and people need to provide the support, the necessary support be provided so that the Liberian children receive the kind of education they need to receive. But to the minister I'm making reference, you have to say this thing because, for instance, in Buffalo County or any kind of matter, if one school is receiving school feeding program, I'm asking myself, what made that school better than the other school? What made the children go to that school so better than the other children? So if you're doing school feeding in, say, Grand Crew, only in one country, maybe in Backleville. Where you from? Sassan? Okay. You begin from Backleville. Most of them from Backleville. So the Sassan children will be getting problems. So why would they Backleville? Even you, we're really like yourself be trouble. So you just need to provide some clarity. Let's know the strategy, the reason behind why they were choosing one school to provide, or in each country to provide school feeding program.
And I think initially what has happened is school feeding has been run by partners. So they select where they're going to go. But we have now taken that on as a government to say, we want to be in control of just what you're saying. Why are you selecting these places? Why is it not this place and that place? And you need to work along with us to implement.
Pre-primary, are they saving school fees?
Pre-primary is early childhood, so yes, they're paying fees. Not kindergarten. Kindergarten. No. Oh, you mean, yes. So tuition for public schools, no tuition. What students do pay per the academic calendar is registration.
So what is the standard registration fee for high school students?
High school is 3,000 LRD.
3,000.
Yeah. LRD.
So what do they do with the money? When you pay the registration fee in the school, do they remain with the school or you take it?
It remains with the school.
It
That's
remains
what
school.
we've enacted. Prior to my arrival, the schools, the fees were being collected and sent by mobile money to the ministry. I don't know what was being done with it.
Okay.
But upon my arrival, I've stopped that. Each school has an account. Those funds have to go into the school account so that we can use for support at the school level.
So they keep it in school.
Correct.
So thank you, Madam Minister. Thank you, Madam President. Thank you, Acting Superintendent for MCSS. Thank you, Acting Superintendent for MCSS. We'll reconvene Tuesday at 11. No, 11 o'clock because it's 1 o'clock. We're wrong. Okay, 12 o'clock. 12 o'clock. Yeah, 12 o'clock. Thank you very much.